Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you very much for taking time off your busy schedule and whatever you had time spent for this. So my name is Amit Sharma. I'm the solution architect working for Amazon. And I'm going to talk about how Amazon has been powering the various media and the ad tech companies across the world. And the most exciting part of this 1 hour session is going to be where our partners and customers are going to actually talk about their use cases and how they have been able to solve their problems using Amazon Web Services. So please make sure you learn from their experiences and see how they have leveraged the overall thing. One more thing, again, whoever sits in the front row will always will get a T-shirt. So please keep that in mind. All right, so I've got around 10 minutes. So I'll start with a quick introduction of Amazon Web Services. So AWS is actually an infrastructure service company. So we provide various services across the entire IT landscape. We got like 35 plus different services encompassing the storage, compute, databases, application management, and so on. And we also have hundreds and thousands of customers across 190 countries. And we are very proud of our customer list. And from a global infrastructure perspective, we've got 11 regions and 28 availability zones across the world with 53 edge locations, which are basically for the content delivery network and so on. Again, this is how Gartner has rated last year for the overall cloud infrastructure as a service. And again, the whole credit goes to our customers in terms of how creatively they have been leveraging our platforms and providing us the critical feedback to keep on improving our services. These are some of the typical three pillars of the cloud computing, as we call it: the elasticity, the on-demand model, and the pay-as-you-go. So elasticity is where you get the resources whenever you want and scale them to the scale those resources to the extent that you need, and then shut those down whenever you don't need them. So the shutting down of the overall resources is important, and that's what is called the overall elasticity of the platform. And it's also on demand, where whenever you need it, be it 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning, you should be able to get that and consume those resources purely as a pay-as-you-go model, so that you only pay for what you use rather than paying for something that you have bought but not at all using. So that's called pure pay-as-you-go model. And more importantly, it's about focusing purely onto your business and not spending time on something which your company does not have expertise in. If you are a media company, you purely focus on the media plane. If you are a telco-based company, you purely focus on the telcos and leave the rest of the IT landscape, etc., to the experts in there. So these are the a list of some of the global media customers that we have. As you can see, there are quite a few big names out here: Netflix, Samsung, PBS, the Public Broadcasting System, and all that. So we have a very wide list of customers using the various AWS services in a very effective way across the world. And in addition to that, this is the list of some of the media and ad tech customers in India. We got Punjab Kesari, we've got Anand Bazar Patrika, ABP, who are going to speak after my session. And we've also got Visa, Mobi, InMobi, etc., who are purely into the ad tech domain and leveraging the overall AWS infrastructure very, very effectively. We are happy to talk about those use cases. There are Amazon folks hanging out here, so please feel free to catch hold of us. It's not only about the infrastructure, but we also have got a very rich ecosystem of partners, the system integrators, and other ISV vendors that we have on our platform. And if you are from a media space, you will realize that these are the various steps that typically any customer would have to follow if they are in the media: ingestion, storage, processing, management, deliveries, security integration, and so on. And towards the end of this session, AdSparx, Kunal from AdSparx is actually going to talk about how they have created their own monetization platform to help the live streaming customers to leverage their content. Coming on to the AWS and how AWS has been providing the various services for customers to leverage and not do a reinvention of the wheel. Wherever, whatever exists already in the Amazon Web Services, leverage those rather than trying to create some of those services, which could actually include the queuing systems, the orchestration layers, and all that. So most of those services already exist in the Amazon platform. And more importantly, we remove all the constraints related to the scalability, elasticity, and all that. So if you need 1 GB of storage versus, say, 1 petabyte of storage, that's not a problem. Go and consume it on the AWS services. Just to give a bit of a testimonial around that, since this audience is ad tech in nature, I'm sure you will realize this name, Razorfish. They are big into the digital advertising, marketing, and all that. So Razorfish were actually approached by a big retailer in the US. That's Best Buy. I'm sure you would have heard about those. So Best Buy had this problem of not having sufficient return on investment on the advertisement spend they were doing. And they came with this clear problem statement to Razorfish. And Razorfish, being in that particular nature of that business, they were actually collecting 13 terabytes of logging data every day, which is actually a huge number by any standards, and 500 billion records in 24 hours. So that was a huge amount of data that Razorfish was getting. And the way Razorfish solved that was to use the various AWS services. I'll not go into the technicalities here, but S3 is the storage service that scales infinitely, both in terms of how much storage you want to put onto that, but also in terms of how much throughput that particular service is going to take. So it's an infinite storage, has extremely high durability of 11 nines and so on. Amazon Elastic MapReduce is the managed Hadoop service. Some of the techies in this room will realize what Hadoop is and how difficult it is to not only create a Hadoop cluster, but also to manage it. But Amazon EMR, or the Elastic MapReduce, actually enables you to make that overall operations much easier, launch a small or a big cluster and leverage that. What this subsequently helped Razorfish and to their customer Best Buy to improve the overall return on ad spend by over 500%. So while Razorfish purely focused onto their infrastructure and to create that overall business model and creating their efficient MapReduce algorithms, rather than worrying about the underlying infrastructure, creation, availability, and all that. That's a big value proposition, that undifferentiated heavy lifting is something that should go to the service provider rather than the customers themselves worrying about that. Now, moving on from the digital advertising companies to the pure media play companies. These are the various services as well as the partners that we have in this domain, the Attunity, Aspera, etc., which allow you to consume the data at a really high speed into the cloud-based environment. So that's media ingestion, which a lot of customers tell us has been a big problem for them. Similarly, the storage, so once the data has been ingested, it's also important to reliably store that data across the various storage systems, and that, again, we have a number of services to take care of that, right from the block storages to the object stores and so on. More importantly, the media processing. So once you have the content or the video files uploaded onto AWS, it's important for you to transform them into the various formats, the transcoding part. And there again, while we also have quite a few services in our Edge portfolio, we have also got a lot of customers in that particular domain to help you transcode the entire video content or whatever content you have. And this again comes in various cost models, which could be bring your own licenses, or you could actually do that on a pay-as-you-go model onto our platforms. Elastic Transcoder is a similar service, which gives you a huge scale of how much content you want to transcode from one format to another. And beauty of these platforms that AWS gives is that all of this comes as a API call. So you don't really need to worry about how you're going to use them. All you need to start is start consuming them as a service in the system. Then there is also the media workflow. So you have the entire workflow that you typically create, and I'm assuming Abhijay from Punjab Kesari will talk about that as to how they have created the entire workflow using various services, etc. And now, more importantly, the distribution, that is one of the prime concerns for most of the customers, that you already have the content and you want to start delivering it to the various geographies across the world. We've got 53 edge locations, which can not only cache the content, but also deliver that content from the vicinity of the end consumer. So it will redirect the traffic to the nearest POP and avoiding that entire latency of getting the content from the origin itself. Huge value proposition, again, comes with zero commit from the end customers and gets delivered as a service. That also extends to the live and video on demand services. We have built in some of the services like HTTP live streaming, etc. And for some of the advanced use cases, we also have the partners like Adobe, Wowza, Microsoft, etc., who have integrated their offerings into AWS as well. We are happy to talk about that once the session is over. And more importantly, the reporting and monetization, which Kunal is shortly going to talk about, and how he has created the solutions around those. And Book My Show is one of such customers who were actually deleting all the log files because they had no way to store and analyze those log files, whereas now using the Redshift and some of the other services, they have not only been able to ingest and reliably store that data, but also gather the business analysis out of that, business intelligence out of that, and apply that back to their business systems. With that, I'll hand it over to Kunal from AdSparx, who will talk about how AdSparx has actually solved most of the common problems for their end customers around mid-roll videos and all that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amit. My name is Kunal. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AdSparx. We are a technology company helping broadcasters monetize their mid-roll, broadcast mid-roll ad breaks that appear in live television. So we try to address the problem for broadcasters and OTT platforms when they put up their live TV streams on the internet for distribution. They carry the same television ad breaks that are being shown on satellite and cable TV. So essentially, they're not really monetizing those ad breaks, which are being viewed by a very large number of people watching the content on mobile devices, on desktops, laptops, and other internet-connected devices. When you try to address this problem by applying the traditional ad technology, there are a bunch of issues that they face. One is that you require development on each and every platform, so you need to integrate an SDK that is deployed for every platform, which means that the technical ability of the live TV distributor needs to be extremely high on all these platforms. They give a very poor experience. Thank you. They give a very poor experience in terms of there is always a buffering experience by the end user when you're switching from advertisement to the content, or even switching from an advertisement to another advertisement if you have a larger ad slot. It is completely unsuited for monetizing mid-rolls. So for example, when a broadcast mid-roll ad breaks runs on live television, the player needs to stop the content, render the advertisement, and then switch back to the content, which basically gives a very poor experience. Also, with a pre-roll sort of a model, you always have a very limited ad revenue potential, right? You show only one ad break, one ad spot for every viewing session. Lastly, a very important problem of ad blocker. So when you run an ad blocker in a web interface, it actually blocks out any ad requests and any ad renderings that happen, and which essentially means a loss of revenue for the publisher. So AdSparx has addressed this problem by building a patented server-side ad insertion platform. So what we do is we dynamically detect these broadcast ad breaks in live TV streams. So these live TV streams do not need any sort of ad markers or anything. We just need a simple HLS or an RTMP stream, and we can detect broadcast ad breaks in the stream. We deliver user-targeted buffer-free mid-rolls. So when the transition from the content to an advertisement happens, it is extremely seamless without any buffering experience. Rather than working with the individual devices, we integrate with the CDN or any content distribution platform that the publisher may be using to distribute its video content. The solution is completely agnostic of what the end device is being used to view the content, right? So the consumer may be using a mobile device, he could be using a tablet, PC, he could even be using an IP set-top box or a smart TV to view the content, and we'll still be able to insert video advertisements into the stream while they're being viewed by the consumer. The platform also has an in-depth reports and analytics involved, and we'll also talk about a bit of that. So this is basically how the whole system works. The top infrastructure that you're seeing is basically used by the publisher to distribute content. So you have encoding systems, you have a CDN, which eventually distributes content to all these devices. What AdSparx does is, AdSparx resides external to the system. So AdSparx is not part of the critical path involved in monetization, involved in content distribution. So AdSparx runs on AWS. We use specialized components of AWS, which actually helps us scale on demand. We'll also talk briefly on that. And we run certain software modules here. So we run a mid-roll detection module, which analyzes the content stream for a presence of a mid-roll ad break in real time. Whenever we detect that there's an ad break happening, we dynamically insert the ad into the content stream as it is being delivered. Whenever we don't have an ad to be rendered, the content continues to be rendered from the main path to the end device. So there are a few other modules involved. We also have a web interface which allows the publisher to integrate with third-party ad networks like DoubleClick, LiveRail, Yumi, and any other demand platforms which are VAST compliant. So as long as these platforms are VAST compliant, we can pull out ads on the fly, detect these broadcast ad breaks, and replace them in real time, hence helping the broadcaster and an OTT platform monetize their live TV streams. And of course, there's a module running which actually analyzes and gives very important information from a content monetization perspective and also from a campaign performance perspective. So basically, we are talking about three important aspects. One is obviously the ad monetization, which is going to lead to increased revenue for the publisher. We're talking about an engagement and a higher engagement and a user experience in terms of delivering a seamless television experience with buffer-free ads for the consumer, and obviously which are targeted and VAST compliant. And importantly, we're also talking about analytics, which will basically give real-time inputs to the publisher to decide on how his monetization need to happen, which basically means that AdSparx is a publisher-side platform helping the publisher monetize his live TV traffic. So mid-roll ad break monetization, giving the same television experience with no buffering when the switching from the advertisement to the content and content to advertisement is happening. So you see a very smooth, seamless experience of television. There's a dynamic user-targeted VAST compliant ads that we are inserting. So you can integrate any third-party demand platform, or you can even have your own ad sales team monetizing using advertisements. The solution is completely multi-screen. So addition of newer internet viewing devices, for example, a newer Xbox or a gaming console comes to the market, which is going to be used by consumers to view the content, you don't need to have an upgrade on AdSparx. AdSparx simply delivers advertisements to any device which is supported by the publisher. As long as distribution of content can happen to that device, AdSparx can help monetize that content. So we're talking about mid-roll advertisements. Some of the numbers that we have been able to experience is that for the availability of inventory, the number of users watching can actually increase by 10 times if you run mid-roll advertisements. So your availability of supply of inventory actually shoots up significantly with a mid-roll advertisement. AdSparx does not differentiate whether you're doing a live event, a linear television, DVR content, or even on-demand video. So AdSparx works irrespective of content formats. And importantly, we also work with ad blockers. Because of the fact that there is no request that is being made by the client asking for advertisement, our advertisements are not blocked, unlike client-side SDKs. AdSparx is a very quick to deploy, easy to use system. So if you've looked at the architecture diagram, we reside external to the critical path. We are not part of the critical chain which is used to deliver the content. So we are external to the system. We are on AWS. Triggering AdSparx is a matter of, and integrating it with the CDN is a matter of a day. So we can go live with the customer very quickly within a day or so. We keep, the content is secure. You don't need to route the content through AdSparx system. And we understand that this is one of the important challenges that broadcasters face, given the aspects of content security when they have to route their content to third-party systems. There are no impositions on what encoding should be used or what distribution platform should be used. So you can use any encoder of your choice, you can use any online video platform of your choice, and AdSparx can easily adapt to the system. a single integration that works with all devices, not just past devices, not just with mobile phones and tablets and PCs, but also the newer age devices like gaming consoles, IP set-top boxes, Roku's, Apple TVs, and even smart TVs, right? Basically, we are helping the publisher put up a private marketplace where the demand platforms can be brought in to monetize their traffic in the best possible manner. AdSparx resides on a cloud-based model, which basically means that the ROI is best served depending on the kind of traffic that they experience, right? So if your traffic increases, your ad monetization scales up significantly, and your infrastructure cost also scales up incrementally. So there is an increased benefit by using a cloud-based model for AdSparx. Lastly, on the web interface, we have a web interface which allows the publisher to manage his content, control the execution of his ad campaigns, and view analytics. So we have two major parts of analytics. One which focuses on content monetization. So we talk about, so a publisher can understand, for example, he can say that if I'm running 4 different channels on my portal, I need to understand what is the revenue being made by channel 1 as compared to channel 2, what devices are being used, and what is the average revenue, average CPM that they're getting on each of these devices. So you can actually look at the analytics from a content perspective, and you can also look at these analytics from an ad campaign perspective. So there are 2 sorts of reports that we publish. There are these real-time trends and reports which actually help you as an input into the system, which can fine-tune your monetization, optimize your revenue. And yeah, so that's about it. We are at booth 51. Would like to show you guys demos if you're around. Any questions, we'll be happy to answer. Yeah.
So if you have a lot of VOD content, and like I've got a few customers who want to just not click on every single video and they want a playlist, do you think we can create, embed AdSparx and create a playlist and insert ads in those playlists rather than calling some other ad networks?
Yeah, so basically these ads are being pulled out depending upon what the targeting parameters are set, right? So if you have a specific ad campaign coming in from your own ad sales team, they can be configured separately. The targeting parameters can be set separately. You can also define priorities, which can be pulled up in real time, and you can insert ads in your VOD content as well.
Perfect. So we can put VOD in a playlist and then make it look like as if it's a live.
Absolutely. So, so you can simulate a 24/7 channel as well.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Great. Thank you.
Right. So I'll hand over the presentation to the next speaker, and obviously, if you have any more questions, we'll be happy to connect. Yeah, Ritesh from ABP. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ritesh. I am the technology head for ABP News Digital Business. Today, I'll briefly take you through what ABP is doing specifically in the digital space and how we've scaled to the level where we are right now, and how Amazon has helped us manage that traffic and everything. ABP is the largest news network in India, and collectively we reach out to more than 60 million TV viewers across India. We have presently 3 channels: one ABP News in Hindi, ABP Maja in Marathi, and ABP Bengali, ABP Ananda in Bengali. ABP Live is our digital brand under which we run a lot of our sites, which are in Hindi, English, Punjabi, Marathi, and Bengali. We launched ABP Live as a brand in 2013 December. We've had a phenomenal growth since last 1 year. As of now, we are doing, there are about 15 million monthly unique visitors, 10 million monthly video views. We have a huge fan base on social media. We have 12 million social fans. And currently we are doing 180 million page views in almost a year. These are the snapshots of our website. This is English, Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, and Punjabi. And the next, we've recently launched a new portal called filmymonkey.com. It's total Bollywood-related site. And from Bollywood news, movie reviews, celeb news, TV gossip, we are very heavily banking on video content delivery on this platform. And video will be one of the main focus on filmymonkey.com. This is how Filmy Monkey looks as of now. Our presence is also there on the mobile apps. We've recently launched our mobile app, and there are over 20 million downloads already. And our app is available on App Store, Google Play, and of course, Windows also. Live video or on-demand video is very important to us. We are very optimistic on this front, and we already believe that video has reached the next big level in the digital space. Currently, we are doing adaptive bitrate for both live TV as well as on-demand video. Live video is an expensive piece. It's hard to manage the live video piece in terms of storage, in terms of delivery, in terms of content management systems. As of now, the only monetization we can do is via pre-roll or mid-roll ads. And that's where we've tried a lot of things. We've managed technology where we are able to serve pre-roll as well as mid-rolls in our live stream as well as on-demand. Our mobile TV is available on all the platforms and like desktop, mobile browser, as well as mobile app. And we've ensured that we are able to monetize on all these three platforms. There is already a 30% consumption of our mobile, of video content from ABP over mobile. And we have a good average viewing time of 20 minutes of live TV. We've had a phenomenal growth in last 1 year. We launched the ABP live brand in December 2013, and since then we are now ranked 86 in India. We've had a lot of challenges also to manage this growth. For example, infrastructure setup. We had to outsource the technology to set up the entire infrastructure to handle such a growth. Events like election and budget, these are big events. And managing the spikes during these events have always been a problem. To scale the infrastructure in a way that the site doesn't go down. Infrastructure management during big event is also a concern. You might set up a good server structure at your end, but hardware failure is something which you cannot predict. So that's also one of the major concerns which we have had faced in the past. Cost optimization again becomes a big issue, especially event days where the traffic is actually very high. So cost on those days becomes a concern. Then setting up the app environment is also very critical. Again, live video streaming, on-demand streaming, setting up the infrastructure for video delivery has also been one of the major concerns for us. Solution for all these challenges which we've faced in the past have given to us by AWS. I believe the first and foremost, the no capex model. You really just need to sign up with AWS and you can simply start using their services. You don't need to make provisions in your infrastructure. You don't need to allocate any budgets for your entire year. So that's a very good part from AWS. Reusable components. Rather than inventing the entire wheel of setting up a server and their services on it, you can simply use components which are already available on AWS. Use the image, install it on your account, and you're ready to go. Elasticity is something which is very important on big days like election budget because the amount of traffic is unpredictable. And the graph goes up and down. And so from cost point of view also, the elasticity which we get in managing the hardware, especially from AWS, has worked very well for our brand. And then again, agility from AWS in the infrastructure management. We don't really need to think anymore that how many servers do we need, when do we need. Whenever there is a news event, we can manage the infrastructure appropriately. Cost is something which is very important. Managing the cost on high traffic days, you don't really need to allocate servers for the entire bun. You can, as the Amazon's cost structure runs on pay as you go, you use a server, you use it for 4 hours, and that's about it. The existing services which we are using from AWS is EC2 instances for hosting our website, CloudFront for delivery of video content, on-demand video transcoding is also being done on Amazon, and then Wowza live streaming, a part of live streaming is done using Wowza services, and of course storage, S3 storage and Glacier for archival content. In future, we are exploring simple messaging services from AWS, mobile analytics, and CloudWatch for monitoring our entire infrastructure. This is a small case study which I would like to share with you. Daily election is one of the biggest days where we've had a lot of traffic. We were very apprehensive on setting up the live streaming structure on Amazon. But we anyway went ahead, and we just a day before we were able to set up the entire servers and everything. On the event day, we managed some 40,000 concurrent connection peak only on live video piece. And all our site was being delivered via Amazon. And on that particular day, we managed some 20 million page views and almost 100,000 concurrent connections on our site. So that's quite a huge traffic for us at that point of time. And everything was managed like a day before on Amazon. And from the scalability point of view, we've never faced any issue since then. Future plans for ABP Live as a brand right now, we are targeting 400 million page views in this current year. We are planning to launch a dedicated video portal also. And of course, new mobile apps will be launched, and we will be heavily using the Amazon structure for user behavior tracking, so that we are able to identify for advertising and all what is the best possible user, what are the kind of users which are coming onto our site. So that's it from me. Thank you.
Basically, my whole team is here from Punjab Keshri Group. I'm one of the owners of the company, and as well as the director of the online media. Good? Acha. So I'll use this. All right, so how many people know Howard Schultz? He's the brains behind Starbucks, one of the biggest companies out there. And he says digital media is a bullet train, and that bullet train is not coming back. And isn't that true? I mean, desktop and laptops are phasing out of the market already. I mean, 70% of our digital traffic, 70% of Punjab Keshri's digital traffic is on mobile. It's not on desktop, it's not on laptop, it's just going away. And it's already gone. People think, oh my God, the mobile is the future. You know what I say? Mobile is the present. Mobile is going to phase out in next 2 years. So we'll study how. So we are one of the largest newspaper groups in Northern India. We have 13 lakh copies in Northern India, thereby making us one of the biggest newspaper groups in Northern India. But in 2009, when I joined the family business, we had this. Zero digital presence. We have nothing. Not even a website, no e-paper, nothing. And This is the year when people are playing with their smartphones, iPhones, and I come back to join my family business to a harsh reality. It was a big blow on my face. I was like, what are you talking about? No website, no application, not even an e-paper. Then I discussed it with my grandfather and he said, Kaka, ki gala karda hai? You know, just focus on your business. You have a huge empire that you need to sit down and manage. I said, that's not the future. I've come back from US just to sit down and do nothing about it. But he said, what you're talking about launching a TV channel online is something which is impossible. He called me a Sheikh Chilli. Ki hawa ch galla karda hai. So we started in 2009 and today we have 5 websites, 3 applications, and guess what? Guess what kind of traffic we are dealing in a month. I'm going to give you the figures, the monthly traffic that we have. 150 million page views a month. That's not per annum, that's not a yearly data, but I'm talking 150 million page views. This is not English. This is a dead language that people call Punjabi. People say Punjabi is dying, Hindi is dying, but tell me where? I mean, in 4 years, we have been able to accumulate 150 million page views right there. 15 million video plays. 15 million video plays a month. That's what we are getting on mobile. That's what we have. That's our potential. 1 billion ad impressions a month. 1 billion. I mean, if you calculate, if you put 2 more ad impressions, which we are not counting here, it amounts to 14 billion ad impressions per annum. I can customize my website to, you know, have as many ad impressions as I can, but you need to have the page views right there. Now the story is, one more thing. Keep in mind, 70% traffic on mobile, not on web, not on desktop, not on laptop. It's all on mobile. So, the next question, how did we do it? Big question. So, I'm an econ major. I have no idea what technical means. I have no idea what digital means. I'm a guy who understands a business model. I understand profit and loss. So, when we started, the server that I had for my website was lying right next to me in my office. So one day, the light goes off, like it does in Punjab every single day, because the government is just giving away electricity for free. Not for us. Light goes, server crashes. The next day, internet lease line goes down, the server crashes. Then I have to worry about backup generators, air conditioning. I mean, I'm not a technical guy. It's not my job. I am a business leader. I understand business. I understand a balance sheet. And that's what Amazon has given me. Amazon is just an expense for me. All my servers are on Amazon, making it very easy for me to broadcast anything I want. Extreme reliability, and obviously the most important thing, the cloud front. It gives me the speed that I need to deliver it to my customers. But why do I need extreme reliability? Why not on HostGator? Why not on GoDaddy? Or why not on some other customer or service provider? Everyone will be asking this question. Well, just imagine that you have got elections of Lok Sabha 2012. That's what I covered in Punjab. I had 100,000 concurrent users. And guess what? My HostGator crashes. I'm talking about a service cloud server which just crashed on that day. Big deal for me. So I called these guys up. I said, you know, your servers crashed today, and you know, I'm taking a huge loss for you guys. He said, sir, I don't know what to do with it. So this one day, my friend at Amazon, Mr. Deepak Khula, comes up to me and he says, you know, Abhijit, why don't you try EC2? I said, okay, fine, let's do that. I said, but how are you going to help me solve the problem of incremental traffic? He said, are you kidding me? Is it a joke? You just got to click a button. It says auto scale. So I click that button and my servers go up till 10 servers within a matter of minutes. As the traffic is coming in, it shifts to new server, more traffic on a new server. I don't have to worry about that stuff. It's all gone. All my worries, all my tensions are gone. Guess what comes next? Well, this is what my audience, Punjabi hostile audience, used to call. Kaka, teri website क्यों नहीं चलती? Traffic jam से फंसी हुई है. So that's the kind of audience I had to deal with. But anyhow, I don't have to deal with them anymore. So these are the services we are using from Amazon. But let me tell you what it results. What are the benefits? So auto scaling leads to incremental traffic. Now my audience knows that my server is not going to crash at all, right? So whenever you come onto a website, if it doesn't work, you'll not type it in the next time. You know that it's not going to work. Well, when you have extreme reliability, it leads to loyalty. Because the audience, the real user, is going to come back knowing that your website is working. Next, high-speed delivery is equal to a happy customer. Why? Because if he's going to a next story, he wants to read the next story, and if it's not loading up very fast, he's going to just walk out. And my bounce rate used to go up to 60%. Now, with CloudFront, my bounce rate is down to 25%. My page views per session used to be 4 pages per session. After the implementation of CloudFront, my pages per session went up to 10. And we are still growing. Happy customer means more engagement means more CTR means dollar bills. That's what we are looking for, right? So what are the future trends? This is just about what happened in the past. I mean, let's talk about the future, which is very important. Video plays. Look at the growth. Look at the number. It says 367%. It's not a calculation error. It's not an error from Excel. It is the real data that we are talking about. That is the growth of video in last 2 years. Just the video. I'm talking from 500 video plays a month to 15 million video plays a month. And we are still growing at a rate of 50% per month. We never know where the audience is coming from. I'm getting huge response from Canada, Australia, UK, Italy, everywhere. Suddenly out of nowhere. And all on video, not on text. It's all video. I mean, we are being compared to real life TV channels. We are just a channel on web. And we are a Punjabi channel. We're not even an English channel. I did not know that I have an audience. I have a Punjabi audience outside of India. But that's giving me a huge CTR and CPM that I was always looking for. And for a non-TV channel, just a simple newspaper to come on to a web online channel was a huge and daunting task. So this is the future. Video on demand. You know, people do not want to wait. And you know, once they come back home at 9 o'clock, they don't want to switch on a channel to see some anchor just shouting at your face, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't let any guest, you know, talk to anyone. What a user wants is news updates. And that's where VOD comes in. VOD, people can sit in office, they can be traveling in bus or train or anywhere. They just need news updates in 2 minutes. And that's what we are providing them via video. They come back home, they can switch on to comedy shows or a movie that they can watch. They don't have to wait for a channel to show them news that they want to watch, you know. But anyhow, page views, incremental growth, again 300% growth since 2012, which amounts to almost 150% per annum. VOD. So, coming back to the main statement that I made, that mobile is not the future. Mobile is the present. Mobile was the future when it was 2 years ago, when we used to come to AdTech and people used to say, mobile is the future. Well, the future is here. People have stopped buying mobile phones. They have stopped buying tablets. They are buying phablets. We do not understand the difference between these three, but it is very important to understand the trends. Because now, people are going to go back on the big screens. And for that, we need to case study Netflix and Hulu. You know why they're so successful? Because everyone wants to watch content, entertainment content, news content on big screens. I mean, who wants to have a 32-inch screen versus 80-inch screen? Anyone here? Will you like to have a 80-inch screen or a 32-inch? Exactly. And that's why you never see Apple or Google focusing on mobile. They are focusing on Chromecast and Apple TV. Because they want you to stream content via your phone onto their big screens. So that's the future. I mean, 3 years down the line, you all will be wearing smart watches with smart glasses. You will not want to carry a brick phone. Why would you want to carry it when you can receive a call on your phone, on your mobile, on your smartwatch, right? So the future trend is all about smart watches and smart wearables. Big data. People have been saying big data that, big data this, big data that. But do you even understand what big data means? It's not big at all. It is just data. The thing is, we are too scared of asking the question, what is big data? It is just data. For example, what we have done with our websites is that we have readers from Canada, Australia and India. But Canadian Punjabis want to read Canadian politics in Punjabi and not Punjabi politics in Punjabi. So that was the differentiation that we made out of our data. And that's what we call big data. We all are using data. I mean, if you have Facebook pages, you go onto insights, that insight is big data. So instead of thinking that we can't do it, we should just start understanding the data we have. People say editorial content is about the past, this and that, and we have discussed a lot about editorial content. If all of you guys had ever thought about editorial content, you would have been the owner of scooppoop.com. You would have been the owner of BuzzFeed. You know why you are not the owner of those websites? Because you never thought about it. Editorial content should be the focus. The creative content. See, if you want to read business, right, and you are being served women's era content, you'll go away from the website. We need to learn what our customers want. Do they want to read serious content after 6 o'clock? Do they want to read serious stuff during the evening? Or do they want to read Shero Shairi? Or what do they want to read? If you have their time zones, if you have their analytics, if you understand your clients, you can create that content very easily. It is not that difficult. Rich format ads. Banner ads are again present. Future is all about rich media ads. I mean, we all need to innovate to figure out to capture more and more customers. Last but not the least, the most important point, consolidation in digital market. This year, we will see a lot of consolidation in the digital media market because publishers like me are getting paid very low CPM rates. And why is that so? Because there are too many players in the market. I mean, if you are a brand, for example, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola talks to their agency Group M. Group M talks to their creative agency to get the creatives done. And then they talk to the ad network to get the inventory. Do you really want so many people involved for just one campaign? No. That is leading to dilution in the market. We all need to sit down and figure out a way to make sure that publishers get their share, high CPM. Because if we don't, we won't be able to create high, good quality content. Good quality content means high CTR, high engagement. We won't be able to give that unless and until we have high CPM. And therefore, I think and I feel and I forecast that Group M will be acquiring a lot of ad networks or any other agency. I'm not targeting any one single agency. Or ad networks will become ad agencies very soon, so that they can bridge the gap of too many players giving out a lot of money to some people, and diluting the market share of the publications as well as the brand itself. So that's what the future is about. Thank you.
So finally, at the concluding of the session, we just want to know if there are any questions for us to answer. Any questions? I think we have a very generous audience. Thank you.
Just were the part of? No questions? Yeah, you do have? Please.
Abhijay, the question is for you. you spoke about the big screens, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any data right now with your viewers on, can you know how many do the Chromecast kind of thing and where it's going in the future?
No, we don't have that data right now because Google has that data, and they don't give it directly to us. But we are in a phase of developing dedicated applications for Samsung and Sony.
But you would soon come to know how many of those
Yes.
video views are getting Chromecasted as well.
Yes.
And
Yes.
your prediction is that that's the future.
Yes, I mean that's what I'm looking at via Netflix, Hulu. I mean that's what the trend is in United States right now, and it tends to flow down in the other markets. And since I mean Apple TV, if you would have heard that they have tied up with all the broadcasters to stream their live feed on Apple TV, so you can very well imagine that that's the future that's coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Anyone else want to ask anything regarding the same session? Anything? Any doubts? No? Yeah, you do have. Please.
Just wanted to understand very broadly, what do you mean by big data? Just wanted to understand for myself.
So, see, big data is something that you cannot crunch out of normal softwares like GA Analytics. I mean, something that requires you to capture data manually from your website. For example, I mean, GA will not be able to isolate my traffic usage of different countries. So I can, with big data is like something I can just, with an SDK on my website, I can capture the user data, right? And I can actually pinpoint what people from other countries are trying to watch, what kind of content and at what time. So for example, I mean, my Canadian audience wants to read about Bollywood. I would not get that kind of data in GA or in any other software. That you have to manually capture, and then you probably have to use Amazon Redshift to make it more understandable. It's the terminology big data is kind of scary, but it is not. I mean, it's just custom capturing of the data and doing analysis of that. Yeah, it's analytics basically.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your question. Anyone else who wants to ask anything regarding the same? No? Okay, you're already felicitated with the t-shirt, so I know there might not be any questions now. But still, thank you so much, the panel, for coming here and discussing the actual thing for all the people. Thank you, and I hope it's going to help you in further business.